To the statement, Secretary of State for Housing and Local Government, Angela Rayner.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. With permission, I would like to update the House on devolution in England and local government reorganisation. The #1 mission of this government is to unlock growth in our regions and put money back in the pockets of working people. Every one of our proud towns and cities have a vital contribution to make to growth. But all of these promises of levelling up, when the rubber hits the road, government's first instincts have been to hoard power and hold our economy back. Since I launched the Devolution White Paper in December, I have been overwhelmed, Mr Speaker, by the excitement from communities wanting to join the devolution revolution. And Mr Speaker, with the measures I will announce today, if it all goes to plan, over 44 million people will see the benefits of devolution. That's close to 80% of the country. More progress in a shorter amount of time than any government in Britain's history. Today, I am delighted to announce 6 new potential devolution areas which will be part of our devolution priority programme, with a view to mayoral elections in May 2026. These places will get a fast-track ticket to drive real change in their area. While devolution can sound techie, the outcome is simple. It's a plan for putting more money in people's pockets. It's a plan for quicker, better, cheaper transport designed with local people in mind. A plan for putting politics back in the service of working people. So today, Mr Speaker, I can confirm to members across the House that the places on the devolution priority programme are Cumbria, Cheshire and Warrington, Greater Essex, Hampshire and Solent, Norfolk and Suffolk, and Sussex and Brighton. Mr Speaker, a 7th area, which is somewhat familiar to both of us, Lancashire, is already deciding its mayoral devolution options, and we will look at their proposals in the autumn in parallel with the priority programme. When I became Deputy Prime Minister, I promised that this government would change the future of the north of England, so Northerners would no longer be dictated to from Whitehall. The programme I announced today will see the north of England covered by devolution. But, Mr Speaker, this programme is for all of England and is shown by the significant progress in the east and the south. Today, legislation comes into force creating mayoral devolution in Greater Lincolnshire and in Hull and East Yorkshire, electing their first mayors this May, as well as foundational devolution in Lancashire and Devon and Torbay. Mr Speaker, every place can see a benefit from devolution, and we want to move quickly so to release these benefits within the first term of our government. Whether it's more regular bus services, more affordable housing, or simple fact that local people will have a local champion with regional influence. Mayors have a proven track record of delivering growth and higher living standards. But we are clear that where a mayor isn't using the powers to benefit their residents, government has the tools to ensure delivery. We will create strong accountability measures in the English devolution bill to ensure mayors deliver the housing, transport and infrastructure their residents need. But devolution is only as strong as the foundations it's built on. Despite the funding injection by this government, councils of all political stripes are in crisis. A decade of cuts and sticky plaster politics has left councils in a 14-year doom loop. That's why we're fixing the foundations of local government by reforming funding and focusing on prevention. I know how vital local government is for achieving our government missions. I also know that reforming local government means tough choices, choices that the Conservatives were simply too unwilling to take. Councillors of all types, including district councillors, tell me the two-tier system isn't working. So alongside our wider reforms, this government is committed to making simpler, more efficient and clearer structures so that residents can access good public services without eye-watering price tags. These kind of reforms, Mr Speaker, won't happen overnight, but we're determined to deliver fairer funding to end the postcode lotteries so that everyone gets the support from public services that they deserve. And that is why today I will be issuing a legal invitation to all 21 two-tier areas to submit proposals for new unitary councils. Letters and the accompanying written statement will set out the requirements for these proposals. New unitary structures will be the right size to achieve efficiencies, improve capacity and withstand financial shocks. But, Mr Speaker, I am clear about the need for flexibility when reorganisation goes hand in hand with mayoral devolution and when coupled with ambitious plans for housing growth. So these proposals will be developed with effective local engagement and dovetailed devolution arrangements. And I want to reassure members that this process will involve extensive engagement with local communities and members of this House. Now, Mr Speaker, turning now to the timings of local elections in May. For certain areas, a significant amount of work is needed to unlock devolution and deliver reorganisation. For this reason, some areas requested to postpone their elections in May 2026 until May 2026. The government's starting point is for all elections to go ahead unless there is a strong justification for postponement. And, Mr Speaker, the bar is high, and rightly so. I am only agreeing to half of the requests that were made. After careful consideration, I have only agreed to postpone elections in places where this is central to our manifesto promise to deliver devolution. We're not in the business of holding elections to bodies that won't exist and where we don't know what will replace them. This would be an expensive and irresponsible waste of taxpayers' money. And any party calling for these elections to go ahead must explain how this waste would be justifiable. And to that end, Mr Speaker, I've agreed to postpone local elections in East Sussex and West Sussex, Essex and Thurrock, Hampshire and the Isle of Wight, and Norfolk and Suffolk. I have also agreed for the postponement in Surrey, given the urgency of creating sustainable new unitary structures and to unlock devolution for this area. For all these areas, I intend to move to elections to the new shadow unitary councils, as is the usual arrangements during local government reorganisation. Mr Speaker, we are postponing elections for 1 year, from May 2025 to May 2026. There is a well-established precedent here, as the party opposite knows all too well. North Yorkshire, Cumbria and Somerset, as well as Buckinghamshire and North Hampshire, all had their elections rescheduled by the previous government. Mr Speaker, I will lay the relevant secondary legislation for this when Parliament time allows, and local elections will take place as scheduled in all other areas. I should be clear, though, that all two-tier areas should be making plans to move to simpler structures regardless of election delays. The invitation will be sent to all two-tier areas with a timetable that takes into account their election has been delayed. Mr Speaker, I know the devolution journey may not always be comfortable for politicians in Whitehall, but it isn't supposed to be. After all, we are undergoing a generational power shift from Whitehall to the Town Hall. We have already seen a huge amount of goodwill from Labour Secretary of States willing to give up newly won powers for the sake of our towns and cities. Secretary of State for Energy, Transport, Work and Pensions and Innovation have led the devolution charge. And now the Prime Minister and I ask MPs in this place to do the same. And I commend this statement to the House.